Welcome back and let's continue with the series of Python by WsCubeTech. I am Nehal and this video will talk about how you can insert the data inside your table that you have already created. So let's get started. So in the earlier video what we have done is we have created a table, and you can see over here this was the code that we have seen in our last tutorial, right? So it was all about we are creating the table by the name of EMP details, and inside this you can see these are nothing but our columns name. And we even saw that MySQL on the MySQL workbench that when you just come over here and you just write down your password and say OK. So you can see that we are having this table over here, and if I just come up over here, that is EMP details, and if I just click on this thing, so you can see that we are having this ID, this name of the columns, that is ID, name and department, but we are not having the any record inside this. So in this tutorial what we are going to see is we are going to see that how you can just insert the records inside your this table. All right, so we'll just come up over here, and over here I'm just going to create a new file, Python file, that is by the name as we want to insert the data. So I will just say insert, and this is my new Python file, and we'll just do those things. I will just import my module first. So I will say import mysql dot connector, and once done with this what we have to do is we have to make use of the connect method. So I will just say that mysql dot connector dot connect, and inside this I will pass the arguments as the first one is the host, so it is my local host. Then it is my user, so user is root. Then I have the password, and my password over here is 1234. And the last argument that we want to pass over here is in order to make the connection with our database, so of course with the database name. So I will just say database, and the name of the database over here. So we'll just come up over here. So name of the database is this, so I'm just going to copy this thing, I will just put it here. This is my database, that's it. And so we are just saying that connect with this database, particular database. All right, and what we are going to do is we're just going to check this. So I'm just going to say print, and I will just say mysql dot yeah. So just make sure that you just store it inside your variable name. So I will just say that my db is equal to, and over here what I'm just going to do is I will just say my db dot connection id, and I will just say run, and you are seeing this connection id over here. That's it. So we have established the connection over here, and now what I just want to do is I want to insert the data inside to my table. So what I'm just going to do is let's say first we'll just write down the query. So I will just take a variable name, that is q is equal to this my. So inside this double quotes what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to insert my query. So I'm just going to say insert into, and we'll just take the table name so that it doesn't create any error over here. So I will just copy paste this thing, and I will say insert into. This is my table name, and inside this what I want to do is I'm just simply gonna pass the column name. So the column name over here which I'm having is id, name and department. All right, and id, as you remember, we have set it to auto increment, so no need to specify the values over here. So I'm just going to say name, so it will be name, and the second one is department. That's it. And this is a this fine. So these are my columns over here, and now I'm to set the values. So I will just say values, and inside this what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say percent s, comma, and percent s. So simply what I'm doing over here is I'm firing a query of insert into my table name, that is emp details, and these are my column name, that is name and department. The id I have set to auto increment, so no need to specify that id over here. And I'm setting this value to as to this percent s and percent s. So this thing is not complete unless and until these particular values get replaced by our original record. So in order to pass that records, I'm just going to say I'm creating another variable. Suppose v is equal to, and here what I'm just going, I'm creating a tuple, and inside this tuple I'm going to pass the actual values. So see, the name of the first employee in my company is Rahul. So I'm just going to say Rahul, and suppose he works as a developer. So I'm just going to say he works in a development department. So I will just say developer. That's it. So this I have done with this thing. So now my query has got completed over here. And now in order to execute this query, I have to make use of the execute method over here. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to say that. And yeah, one more thing, we forgot to create the cursor object over here. So just make sure, because if you are not just creating the cursor object, so you can't make use of the execute method and all. So I'm simply going to make use of create a cursor by making use of my connection object. So I'm just going to say my db dot cursor, and I've done this. I will just store it inside a variable name, that is x is equal to. And now over here I have to just make use of this execute command method. So I'm just going to say x dot execute, and inside this what I'm going to do is I will just pass this parameter, that is q and v. So what this execute method it will do is that it will just insert execute this line, and inside this values it will just replace this percentage with the actual values over here, and so that we have mentioned here these parameters. All right, so this is q and v. And once done with this, what you want to do is you just want to make sure, you want to tell your Python that just save all the changes over here. So we are going simply going to say that my db commit. So if you just do this thing, so you're going to just say that my db dot commit over here. So it will just save your all changes that you have made inside your database. And once done with this, you can just print a line if you want. So I'm just going to say print uh, record added. You can see that if I just say run over here, so it will just say, if I just get this line, that is record added over here, so it simply means that a particular record has been added into the table that we have created. So I'm going to simply say run over here, and as soon as I say run, so I'm getting this record added over here. Now we'll just go to our workbench in order to check that whether the particular record has been added over here or not. So what I'm just going to say is refresh over here, and as soon as I just come up over here, so you can see that the auto increment has set to from started from 1, and the name has been set to Rahul, and the department he is working is developer. Now suppose that I want to insert uh, one more record over here. So what you can do is simply you can just come up over here, and you can, instead of Rahul, you can just change up the value. So suppose I have this Tina, and suppose she works as a HR. So she works as a HR over here, and I'm simply going to say run over here, and you see that it says record added over here. Just come up over here, just say refresh, and inside this thing you just click on this symbol, and you can see that auto increment has been done to 2, and Tina and HR has been her department has been added over here. So this is how you can insert a new record inside your table which you have created. So this was all about like how you can insert a single record at a time. But what if you want to insert multiple records at once? So in that case, what you can just do over here is like you can come up over here, and you can just pass this as a list. And inside this, what you basically do is like you simply go on adding the elements that you want to do. Now suppose I will just change this thing. So suppose now I have Pratik, and suppose the department he is working is SEO. All right, and we'll just create another tuple. So we'll just have another record. So suppose I have this Dhanashri, and she too works as a developer, and I have this another tuple. So I will declare this thing, and this is my double quotes over here. All right, and I have some another ones. So suppose I have Rutuja. She works as a content writer. So you can see I have added this many of records. You can just go on over here. And now what I'm just going to do is like in order to execute this many of uh, records over here, I have to make use of, instead of x dot execute, I have to make use of x dot execute many. And if I just say now runs, just save your thing, and if I just and make sure that you just don't forget to save your changes by making use of this commit method. And as soon as I just run over here, and if I'm getting this thing record added, so it simply says that well, we have successfully added the records inside our table. So we'll go and check. So I've come up over here, and now what I want to do, I will just say refresh, and inside this emp details on this thing, I will just click over here, and you can see this thing. So our multiple records has been added in our table. So you can see this auto increment is incrementing the value of id by 1 automatically, and the name and the department values we have already passed over here. So this is how you can insert any record inside your table. So we'll just do a quick recap over here. So in this, what we studied was that once the table has been created, now how you can just insert the records inside your table. And in order to do that, what we did was we made use of this insert into query. So what I did was I just stored this inside my variable name q, and inside this I passed the query as insert into the table name which I had created, and this is nothing but emp details. And inside this I'm passing the column name, that is the name and the department. The id I'm not passing because I've already set it to auto increment mode. And I'm passing the values as percent as over here. And once these values will be just get replaced by these values which I have passed. So we saw how single record you can insert, and in order to just insert multiple records at once, so you can just make a list of this thing, and inside this you can pass tuple, and this tuple will be the record of each things. Like suppose the name and department is, so name is Pratik and the department is SEO, then the next tuple will contain the values of that particular thing, so it will be Dhanashri and developer. And likewise it is the next record with that we are passing is Rutuja, which is the name, and the department is content writer over here. And in order to execute this multiple records at once, so you need to make use of this execute many method over here. And we are just making sure that our all the changes that we have made has been saved. So we are making use of this commit method, and at last we are just printing a line to just make sure that everything has the record has been added into our table. Now I hope so you have understood like how you can just insert the record inside your table. So if you're just enjoying this series, so just hit the like button and do subscribe to our channel. And thanks for watching.